.050 employee personnel records. It's page
Yeah.
3, comma,
Okay, sorry about that.
1.050.
Okay.
It was just missing a space or a
Okay.
comma. So, okay, so I understand what your motion is to add all this language that I've got here.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just additional to make it,
From your 7/1/24 email.
mhm.
Okay. So I have the motion done by Tammy to include that language that I gave you guys way back in August. No. Yeah. You had it in June and July and August, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay, so you know what the language is then?
I got the language. Do you guys want me to read it out loud so you know what you're voting on? I can.
Read it, Robert? You want her to read it?
No.
We've already heard it. No? I'll second it. We just need a motion and.
But there is already confidentiality in the current policy, so what, I'm not sure, the failure to do so part, is that what you're wanting?
Mhm.
Failure to do so will result in disciplinary action.
Yeah.
Probably up to and including termination rather than over.
Yep, I would like that, up to and including termination. Because anytime anybody violates somebody's right to privacy, I have a huge, most of the times, I know most people fire them. That's it. If you're gonna
You
tell,
wanna work with MMIA.
I don't wanna be working with
Yeah.
somebody that's going to be disclosing information to somebody.
Mhm. Yeah, you'd wanna work with MMIA to make sure that you do it right, cause you don't want a lawsuit, a wrongful
Yeah,
termination
yeah,
lawsuit
but
on your
I
hands.
just
But in
up
that
to-
event, I would, yeah, I think you could put up to and including
Including,
termination.
okay,
And that way it's anywhere on the scale all the way.
from right up to, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And Mike seconded. Okay. And then again, if you were to pass this, it still has to go to MMIA and they have to say yes before it's final.
Okay,
So we've already had a motion and a second on it, is that
Okay.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we need is a vote. All in favor?
I,
Alright.
Okay, not opposed. New business, resolution 536.
So I don't know if you want me to go over these.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
You-
So resolution 536 is setting your mill levy for this budget year. I just include lots of information in this because I just think it's nice for the public to have it available on this. It's not required. The only thing that's really required is the now therefore be it resolved paragraph. But I go ahead and put the market value, taxable value, and newly taxable property value in there just so they know. And then you've got the mills, and like we talked about at the budget meeting, 130.78 is the maximum we're allowed to mill. We did choose to do that. The 18.4 is the voted mill for the rural fire department. That gives you a total of 149.18. Each of your mills is worth $477.40.3 for a total tax collection of $62,434.76.
Kristen, can you do something for me? Can you explain to these people so they know the reason why you do the maximal mills and what could happen if you didn't in the long run? That, so you guys understand, we're just not trying to gouge you right off the bat.
Actually, it's the opposite. So the maximum we were allowed to mill was 130.78. Say we decided to go easy this year and mill 120. That actually leaves 120.78 for easy figuring. That leaves 10 mills on the table. Those 10 mills stay on the table and the town can grab them at any subsequent year. So if we did 120.78 this year, it might slightly lower your property taxes, but you do that a few years in a row and you bank up 30 mills. and then you hit the public with those 30 mills when your mill value is potentially higher 2 or 3 years down the road, you're going to skyrocket your property taxes. You're really going to notice. I don't think that's fair to do to the taxpayers. So I always mill the maximum amount because it creates small increases annually, hopefully ones that are not significantly noticeable to you. And then it allows the town to manage their funds correctly and hopefully be setting some of that aside for anything that might be big.
Yeah.
So that's why I choose to mill the maximum mill. It's not required, but I think it's a best practice in my opinion. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
I move to accept resolution 536.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 536. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
So 537 is your budget resolution document. This is one that's included in the actual budget document that goes to the state. There are certain things that are required in this resolution by Montana code or by the state. I have all of them included. Something new, that was new to require this last year. Not sure if you guys did it last year or not, but I was sure to do it this year under the second whereas, part C. That's new since last fiscal year, that you have to include any increase or decrease, in, as the case can sometimes be, in property taxes on homes valued at 100,000, 300,000, and 600,000. I have included that in the now therefore be it resolved paragraph, part C, and you can see respectively those three went up by $34.78, $104.33, and $208.66. And I am now noticing there's some weird numbers after that I don't think were meant to be there. I think I was typing something else. So the 677999, that should not be part of the resolution. I'll fix that before we make our final copy. My guess is I had multiple things open. Anyway, that's newly required last year. Again, I don't know if you did it, but I wanted to be sure and do it this time. The state gives me a spreadsheet to calculate that. I don't calculate it on my own. It's just based on mills milled last year versus mills done this year. So.
Okay.
And it's got an attachment A, and that's what we went over the other day, along with the changes I made since then. And I know we talked about a little bit before the meeting. If you guys want me to go over some of those changes I made, I'm happy to do that. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer those. You let me know what you
Do
want.
you have any questions?
I think the only thing is, because the public has asked about this so much, could you please explain the FEMA money that you found, because that seems to come up a lot of times, and then they will feel kind of, okay, this is where we're sitting at.
So, Justin, I believe is his name. I am still waiting on him to get back to me. There is still $27,083.37 that I don't know what it was reimbursed for. Everything else that we got, which was that almost $100,000 number, I have found the claims that they're attached to and did a journal voucher to move the money back to whatever fund it came out of. There is $27,083.37 that I don't know what it ties to, so I don't know which fund to put it into. So that's why I created Fund 2260 to hold that money separate. We know that's FEMA money. It's not anything else. And when the guy from FEMA gets back to me and I'm able to figure out where the last of that money goes, I will help your new clerk move that around, or she can actually just copy my journal vouchers and do them. It's a pretty easy process once you know where it goes. But unfortunately, I just don't have the time to dig through more and more boxes of paper and try to find it myself. I'm really hoping this guy comes through for me and finds it. So, but it is separate, it's accounted for, it is not intermingling with anything else. We know exactly what it is and how much it is. So.
The farmer gets to keep it, they can't take it back.
Oh yeah. They wouldn't have reimbursed it if we weren't allowed to have it.
Okay.
It's just, once Fromberg was reimbursed for it, then those adjusting entries were supposed to be made to put it back to the fund that was reimbursed. That's the part that we haven't done yet. it wasn't done on fiscal year 23, and the auditor didn't say anything to me, so I don't think anybody's gonna come back on us. It would just be good for us to get that replaced in whichever funds it came from, so that it has its money back. Cause right now, there's some fund short money, we just don't know which one. So,
Well, at one time, weren't they talking about reimbursing some of the volunteer hours and stuff like that? Would it have been something like that?
Some,
Wouldn't show up on anything?
no, some of the volunteer hours were reimbursed, and I did find those claims and move that money back. I don't believe all of them were reimbursed though. So I don't think of this that's remaining, I don't think it ties to volunteer hours, but it could. And you know, like I said, I only found what I found and then didn't find anything else in the box where everything was. And I don't really know what other box to search in. There's no other box labeled FEMA or flood or anything like that. I've been through all those. So it's probably paperwork that maybe got lost in the shuffle at some point in time and it's just not there. That's what I'm hoping FEMA will provide me because they should have all that. I'm confused why it's so hard for them to provide it to me. I'm sure they're just busy like everybody and he just hasn't got to it yet. So, but it's separate. It's ours. It just needs to be moved when we find it.
Eventually they'll get it sorted out.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, or I don't know, I guess eventually you can, maybe you guys remember and some of you can start to help me decide where it goes or help your new clerk decide what you think was reimbursed. I don't know. I don't think anybody's coming back to check on it for us. So at some point we may just have to make some executive decisions as a council. So. But did you want me to go over any other changes that I made?
No, I'm
Okay.
good with that. I move to accept resolution 537.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 537. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
I do apologize, this one was labeled incorrectly in the packet. I have hand corrected all the errors, I have corrected a clean copy for the mayor to sign. It was correct on the agenda, I just didn't get it changed to 538 instead of 537 when I made it. This was a template resolution from the League of Cities and Towns. I copied it, changed what needed to say Fromberg to Fromberg, and left you a big blank so you can be very specific with me before you pass this, which street you would like to pave with this money. Because my understanding from your public hearing is that you would like to use it on street paving and repairs.
Okay, the resolution 538. House Bill 355.
So we just need to fill in that blank before we pass it.
Okay, well, what streets, what I'm thinking of is use this money so we can pave, Mine Spur Loop. We can use it for the cut across to the school and the entire Mine Spur Loop down at the road that is, essentially it's all tore up. They gravelled it.
Not essentially, it is all tore out.
Well, it is tore
And
up.
it's gravel now.
It's gravel.
This is the project that came through, were they not supposed to pave it when they were done?
There wasn't enough road there to even,
They just had to return it to existing condition, basically.
yeah.
And the
That's a tough
existing
one.
condition was super poor asphalt, so they're
Yeah.
gonna give us
Yeah.
gravel instead,
Yeah.
was my understanding from Chad tonight. And he
That
said
is correct.
we could call if we had
And
any
we,
questions for
as a
him.
town, we have not done anything to that road for years because they knew that this water project was eventually gonna go through there and tear it up, so why would you pave it and then have it go through there and tear it up? So
Yeah.
we just didn't do anything deliberately so that eventually we'd get new asphalt on.
Yeah.
And this is money that will help do that.
Yeah, you have about $46,000 total with what you get on House Bill 355 plus what your match requirement is. For roughly that amount, what did I figure the other day? You could do about, for that amount in Bridger, we did 5 or 6 blocks. I can't remember what, with the county's help
Mhm.
at current asphalt prices. So my understanding is Mine Spur's what, 2 or 3 blocks on this
Yeah.
side, a little over 2.
Yeah.
I'd have to measure.
What
Little
about
over
the
2, and
north
then it's-
side?
That,
Is that what you mean when you say they cut across to the
yeah, the
school?
cut
Is
across
that
is
okay.
about
Yeah.
1 block.
And that's still considered Minespur? I don't have to call
Yes.
it cut
North
across.
Minespur Loop. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so South Minespur
And
and
then
North
whatever would be
Minespur.
left in that money, we could use to continue on up River Street to pave that.
How many blocks is the North
Well, River
Minespur?
Street
Is that
is
like another
actually
1 or 2?
probably a quarter
North
mile.
Minespur, it's, technically it's 1 block. I wanna say when I measured it was 600 and, basically 660 feet.
So that'd be about, well, because Bridger's blocks are 300. So when I said we did 6 of Bridger's blocks, those are 300-foot blocks. So if your blocks
Yeah.
are 600 foot, then you're about. two
That's
every
just
one.
that one road
So that's
is.
basically 2.
And then
Yeah,
I
so
think
it's about
all
2
of
blocks.
Minespur Loop is 3 blocks, so it'd be about
Yeah, 'cause it
Okay,
goes
so
down,
north
makes
and
it 8 to
south would
900.
be
Makes a
about
loop
3
down
blocks,
there and
or
comes
give or
back.
take. Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to probably.
So then you'd have another 2 or 3 blocks of West Rivers that you would do. Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
whatever we would have.
Whatever 2 or 3 blocks you could
And
do with that.
I know Robert's been out looking at streets. Did you find anything worse than, well, we were looking
Yeah.
at this Carbon Street here. Did we have that on here?
Yes, that's
Is that on
coming
there?
up in 2 agenda items.
Okay.
Okay, but we were looking at, there's 190 feet that,
But you can't tie that in with this project.
we can't tie that in
No.
with this project?
Well, first of all, you're gonna do it this year, and you don't have an approved application yet, and you won't have an approved application for House Bill 355 by the time Great West is ready to do that. So that's one reason why you can't. The other reason is your match is based on total cost of the project, and that little bit of carbon that we're gonna deal with in 2 agenda items is part of your big water and sewer project. You don't wanna pay your match percentage on the total cost of that project.
No.
So I would eliminate that from the House Bill 355. If you did part of carbon, I would do it up and away from this other little piece,
Completely away
which
from
my
that
understanding is what else needs it would be up and
I
away.
would just leave it at Minespur Loop,
And-
north and south and up West River Street.
And
goes
West
over
River.
there.
Okay,
And I would do the sections that are the worst out of West River.
so I'm gonna
a
say
hard one.
mine spur without a north or
I
a
know.
south, cause that will
I know.
include all of
But
mine
I got
spur.
a pretty good idea of
And-
like a 70-foot section.
So then we're thinking like 2 blocks of West River, is that what we would?
Yeah.
And
West
let's
River's
just say
wider.
some of West River.
Yeah.
And that will leave it a little open-ended on how much we do. We'll figure out the money and then go as far as we can.
We still got funds to do carbon?
We do, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's other streets in town. That one over there going to the Catholic Church
That's I was gonna bring that
is
up.
horrible.
Oh,
Montana
And I'm
Avenue.
sorry, there's a
Here.
lot of people that use that. It sets right in between 2 churches.
So you'll use your gas tax money for your match on this, which is really nice because then your match doesn't come out of your general fund. You're still gonna have plenty of gas tax money if you choose to do other streets. So you should be fine there. So, I mean, you can't do them all, but
Yeah.
you should be able to continue to prioritize them over time.
Okay, so do you guys, kind of, is that what we're looking at then, right?
So,
North
yeah,
and South Minespur.
Okay,
And
So-
some West
Street
River.
repairs and paving. I
I
think we
make-
would make the motion.
I make the motion to approve
Well-
resolution
okay.
538 to do the street repairs and paving of Minespur Loop and up West River Street, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just did some of West River, that way you can go up, you can go down, I don't really
Some
care,
of
just
West
a
River.
Some of
portion
West
of,
Some of
maybe
West
a
River.
portion is nicer than.
I
Or
se-
a portion of
A
West River.
I
portion.
Street.
of
second the
West River.
motion.
And do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, now, we'll open it up to the audience.
My only thing was up there, that's been neglected so long, and it's so bad, and I've heard so many people, and I really feel sorry for them. That's all.
It is.
None of my business, that's all.
Nope, it is a bad street. They've been trying to get something done with that for a number of years. And I know you've looked at other streets. Is there other streets besides the one that goes to the Catholic Church that,
But we can't include that on this essay.
Yeah, I would go ahead and vote on what your motion and second is.
so we have a motion and a second.
Have
Do we have, all in favor?
Aye.
I,
Okay. So that'll put the projects for HB 355.
I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
The train tracks, that's rough. I mean, you put
That's
gravel on
on
there
there.
all the time, trucks come by there, and gravel disappears, ends up somewhere else. Not blaming trucks, but the traffic. Can we do anything with that? Because, you know, railroad owns that property, why can't we not patch it?
It's railroad property and we cannot.
Says who?
Railroad.
Anybody ask why we can't patch them?
I'll ask again for clarification if you would like. They, according to them, it's their property and they will take care of it as they see fit. And they don't see fit.
That's dealing with the railroad.
I mean, that's exactly was that
We'd
guy's
be
words.
alive when they do it.
I mean, he didn't say necessarily tell me I can't go over there and do it, but he said the railroad will. That's the railroad's property, and they will take care of it as they see fit.
I almost think you're into, you would have to, like Chad Hansen and them, you have to get permission from them, and then you have to
Have it
pay,
engineered.
engineered and pay.
We have to
whatever.
apply for the permit, and
Well-
for the
Yes.
permit, we have to have the engineer.
Exactly,
Yada,
and
yada,
the other
crap.
issue is because it's on the railroad, because I dealt with the railroad on this before. It's on the railroad property. We go in there and do anything and something happens,
Mhm.
Then we're in
You're
trouble.
liable.
then we're liable.
How much do they own on the other side of the tracks?
20 feet, I think, both sides, is what they told me in
20
Laurel.
feet?
Yeah.
We might have more action if a group of us got together and wrote to the railroad individually and also Montana Transportation Department on that, with the trucks turning and stuff.
Yeah.
Not saying, you know, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be, it could be a kind letter, you know, with, this is what I see, and
I think if more people, like if there was more residents that would send that letter, it would have more
Yeah.
impact than me calling.
Okay.
Get a petition.
Yes, Mark.
I dealt on the museum with a gentleman up there. I love him. He's fantastic. He was absolutely out of this world. He at first said if I wanted written permission, I had to go through Texas, and that was just forget it. I mean, I wrote so many letters, and he said, you know what? Go do it. You're fine.
That
And
was
I can
kinda
give
the way
you
that
his
guy was
name.
making it sound when I talked to him.
Yeah.
He said that as far as officially it was the railroad's property, but that's what I want that asphalt, that cold patch asphalt is just, I'm gonna fix that hole.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move on to the next thing on the agenda, which is approve the cold mix asphalt bid.
Yeah,
So, Mark, how much was that?
it's $2,006 for a 17-ton truckload. Now that was just enough to cut that section out and cold patch that section by the railroad tracks. It's just enough to do that section.
Why are we going with
That's
cold
for-
mix versus hot mix?
Just because if we get it here and it's not, you know, I can get it here and then move it back over there and it doesn't have a time limit, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm just saying, hot mix holds up much better than cold mix, and especially if you're gonna do that patch there.
I do agree with that, but
And if you're gonna do it, you might as well take care of those ones all the way down, especially down there, just past the entrance.
yes, there's three, that's what I was also gonna say is not just for this one load. I mean, can we make arrangements to get loads of asphalt? I mean,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
cold mix or hot mix,
If
but
you-
one load at a time to
if you-
fix these.
If you cut that out, you measure it out and cut it out, you can get an exact measurement, exactly how much hot
Yeah.
mix you need. You can cut that out and lay that and roll it in, and you've got a really superior good patch with hot mix. And it will last coming up here, because we brought hot mix up here all the time.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that, it's just coordinating the time with them. to bring hot mix, because that's, I mean, it is a little less tricky, I guess. The cold mix we have to get out of Huntley, and they're a little more available, is that. But, I mean, the hot mix, I can see when they'd be available.
Who
I
are
would-
you talking about?
Knife River or Fisher, either one of them will bring hot mix out of,
What
Bill.
about the county?
I can get with the county and see when
'Cause
they'd
I
be
know-
available.
I know they brought us hot mix all the time.
I haven't had a lot of success with.
One thing you
that
guys
part of
gotta
mine,
consider,
but-
if you're looking at getting the county involved to do that, and if you're gonna go in and do the railroad thing, which we're not supposed to do, the county may not do it, because we're not supposed to do that.
Which was another reason for the cold mix. I would, you know, if I have them go dump it down at Third Avenue and then I just take it up there in the dump truck and dump it myself, I'm not involving anybody else on anything that may be questionably legal.
Come on, where?
You just give the
You know what I mean? I mean, I fully agree, if, as far as patching
really
your other
have-
spots down
I
farther.
understand on the cold mix, I
Okay.
understand that part on the railroad tracks using the cold mix and stuff like
Okay.
that, but on the other big potholes and stuff like that, I would much rather prefer with the traffic that goes over that road hot mix.
Let's tackle one problem at a time, though.
Yeah.
You know,
But you're needing approval for several.
Well, that, I was going to ask about that, but if you wanna just do that one in cold mix and then do the other ones in hot mix, and talk with the county and see if we can get a better deal on hauling it, I know we can get it cheaper if it comes from Billings instead of from Huntley.
Yeah,
Huntley's the only place they have cold
and
patch.
I'm just saying, try to do economical and.
I called
Nowhere
around.
else had it
and
either.
if we can get the, for everything else, get the county to bring it in,
On the hot mix, yeah, that's fine.
you know.
And if you
then-
can't get the county, then you get, you know,
I can get Fisher or Knife River to haul it. Their hot mix, what do you say, it was up to $83 a ton, and the cold patch is $95 a ton. So,
That's gotta come from Huntley.
Cold patch.
the cold patch does, that's, yes.
yeah.
Well, if
you're
we
gonna-
You're
approve,
paying $90-some a ton for cold patch
Mhm.
and $80-some a ton for hot patch, which comes right out of Laurel.
so how much per load?
It's $2,006 for that one 17-ton load.
2,000?
If,
How many ton is that?
17. 17 ton?
17?
Okay, so if we approve several loads of asphalt for $2,006, up to $2,006,
Yes. Like hot mix would be cheaper in trucking because it would
then
come
that
from-
would allow us to bring in, would you guys say maybe 5 loads?
I would say at least 3,
3 loads?
at least 3, because it's
Now,
81s where,
you got potholes up by the school.
But
That stuff up
give
there is
everything-
gonna.
I know, but that's where that cold patch would be actually better for just filling those potholes, unless we're cutting out like 10-foot by 10-foot
You don't have
sections,
to cut
which
out
is,
10-foot by 10-foot sections, but you gotta cut out the old stuff. You've gotta get yourself halfway decent into good. Or
right,
you're gonna put the cold patch down and you've got crap all the way around it and it's just gonna blow out right behind the cold patch.
right, I guess what I was getting at with that is just, the cold patch is better because I can have them just bring it and dump it, and then I can take it around, say that pothole only needs 6 ton of it, and this one over here needs 5 ton, and instead of having that dump truck or the belly dump a little bit here, there, that's the only thing other than the train tracks. with
So
the
this
cold
one
patch
load though, but that will pretty much take care of your
by the train tracks.
projects,
That one load will take care of by the train tracks.
and that's all.
If you wanna use hot mix on those other big holes, which I agree, it'd be a better patch than cold patch.
So if we
but
get
it's-
2 loads of, or one
Hot
load of
mix?
cold, 2 loads of,
I think 2 loads of cold would cover some of the bigger potholes and things that having the
and then
Trucks
2
jump
loads
around
of
and
hot
suck.
mix.
yes, because it will
Yeah,
take,
But yeah, we can't put that stuff down there by the wells.
no, we can put it on Third Avenue,
Okay.
yeah. I got a
Here's,
spot
here's
for
my
it down there.
question, if we're gonna get 4 loads, how long is that gonna take you? Is that before the next meeting that they're all gonna be done, or not? So we might only do 3, and then next meeting, see where we're setting at.
I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, that's doable.
We could
If
do
we're gonna
that.
do the hot mix, it needs to be before,
Yeah,
he was
Yeah,
thinking
'cause we're
November,
running
but
out.
we'll see.
you,
Yeah,
you
it's
have to
summer.
do
We'll
that,
see.
yeah,
If it's that far. Cause at 4 inches thick, you take 2 ton to cover 81 square feet. So we'd have to just figure out what we got for square footage.
Okay.
The spot over by the train tracks is 25 feet wide across the lane. And then, I measured it out at 15 feet this way, covering that whole area.
okay. I'm just saying that if we approve all this, I don't wanna be approving and then stuff sits there, because all of a sudden,
Yeah, no,
and,
we
Yeah, no, I
we get
agree.
it approved, you need to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're doing 3 loads,
3 loads.
so $6,018. You're approving up to $6,018. Is everybody good with that when somebody
And
makes
this
a
is coming out of the
motion?
gas tax,
It can.
Yes.
but we don't have money in the general, so it needs to come out
I
somewhere.
mean, you got a little bit of roads and streets money in there, but yeah, it would be better out of the gas tax fund.
You
We'll
said-
use up your Barca money first.
Okay, as
And
long
you
as
Get
it's
rid of
coming-
that fund.
As long as it's
Okay.
coming out of that,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem.
so you said 6,000?
6,018 is 2006 times 3.
Okay, I move to approve $6,018 for, asphalt.
Unless you wanted to pad that a little in case prices change, I don't, that's up to you, but that was just the math.
I know Marcus, he'll order it tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, let's go
get it over,
$6,518.
Sure.
Does that work?
That's true.
$6,518.
$118.
Okay.
That pads it, okay, or should?
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it, as long as Marcus guarantees me it'll be done by the next meeting.
I'll do my best.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve $6,518 for asphalt mix for the roads. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Okay, next up is approved quote for carbon street paving.
This should be in your packet, it's got the yellow highlight at the bottom. It's information from Chad from a progress report, but it had the numbers that you needed to approve. Yeah, it should look like this. Oh, yours is maybe not in color, yours looks like this.
Oh,
man, I thought I was colorblind.
Yep, nope, you got it right on top there, Bob.
Okay.
My note from Chad on this though is if you were going to approve it, his suggestion was the 190 feet at 16 feet wide. If you do the 20-foot wide, he's afraid it won't happen and he'll have guys standing around being paid to do nothing because that's the current width is 16. So he stressed that please don't pick the 20, you're just gonna hurt yourself.
I think that's what you measured, that is 16?
Yeah.
That's what it